Gatanan Gatananku. Gatanan Gatananku. 100 hours is enough to take a child from the crisis zone of Borno into literacy. 100 hours is all it takes to lift an unschooled child, a child traumatized by insurgency, a child traumatized by the sight of his father slaughtered and his village burnt, a child traumatized by having to witness the rape of his mother. And this child, with 100 hours of tuition and an environment conducive to learning, where we have reclaimed his childhood for him, this child can become literate in his mother tongue. This child can become literate in any language that's phonetic that he knows already. So he begins with Babi, Bo Bube, Chachi, Cho Chuche. The teacher doesn't need to stay with him through all the hours he will spend with his slips of paper. The teacher doesn't need to be with him right through that. If his name is Abu Bakr, he can see Abu Bakr. He's already got quite a lot of letters. He's already got 3 vowels. Yeah? So he's ready. And now he finds a sister, Mariam. So we give him Mami, Momume, Babi, Bobube, anything for his own name, Kaki, Kokuke. He can go with his own ones. Abu Bakr and Mariam have their own slips of paper. Now we have Abdullah. He's got Babi, Bobube, Dadi, Dodude, Lali, Lolule, Hahi, Hohuhe for Abdullah. Huh? And his sister is Rukaya. So she's got Ru, she's got Ka, she's got Ha. Now they can learn these things together, and they will swap with Abdullahi and Mariam, and they will teach each other. And all I did was give them a few slips of paper. And that's the first hour. What they do on their own until I meet them again tomorrow, or maybe I meet them again in a few days' time, what they do on their own is substantial, and they are masters of their own learning. And in it, we add the sense of curiosity one must have for the world, the sense of hope that a child whose religion tells them repeatedly in their holy book to seek knowledge even if it is far away as China. Seek knowledge. This is the child's religious duty. They know this is a sense of worship, to be practicing, to become literate in the language of your dead ancestors. And so, we give them tools. A piece of cardboard and an old box of soap become a box of favorite animals. We're not working with desks and chairs. We take the traditional poetry and cut it into pieces and give it to them to reassemble songs that they already know. We are taking them through the familiar and into the unknown. Of course, there are books that are no longer available. Northern Nigerian Publishing Company, you can only buy pirated material now. I have bought the last of the originals. If you can find anything by the Northern Nigerian Publishing Company for sale still at 60 naira, I'm happy to purchase it for the children. Have become literate. One boy in green here, he came to my door. He didn't even speak English. I don't speak Hausa, kadankidank. So he said, teach me English in the kind of mime way that we have. Not teach me English, teach me to read. 3 weeks with these books. 3 weeks with these beautiful books that used to be published for northern children before we decided that illiteracy was all that we could achieve. And what a disgrace to have an education system that will take children who have to be the human plumbing in this society because there's no pipes bringing water to their house. It is children who must bring water to their mother. It is children who must bring the kerosene for her fire because there's no electricity coming. There are children who are the underground pipes and the wires of the society, deprived of a childhood. But those who are lucky enough to go to a school, to be free for the hours you need to attend a school, can be there for 12 hours and end up being 1 in 5 will gain a qualification. 12 years of schooling. And you have a 17% chance of walking away with a qualification. And I have met children in the street who can learn to read in 3 weeks. You see a library collection this size, even if it's in English, I can use it because we have so many words to talk about, so many pictures to talk about, so many things they want to say, so many things that stir their heart. A dolphin? A dolphin? And they love the word dolphin. Hold this slide for a moment. They love the word dolphin because the PH in it works nicely like carpenter, dolphin. This was a collaborative work after a science lesson where we went out and looked at the masara that we had planted. The maize is growing tall. Everyone cut it out, leaf by leaf, right around, and we gummed it all together. And the story here basically says, whether we are tall or we are short, everything is in good order. Whether the wind knocks us down or whether we stand straight, everything is in good order. So the children are not only literate in text, they are literate in those beautiful signs that are writ large in all creation. They have learned to read a garden. There is excitement in our home this morning because at last a banana tree we planted in Ramadan a few months ago has the heavy head of its own flower. And we know under this full moon, because we read the sky as well as the earth and the garden, this beautiful flower will open in the next few days, and bananas will be ready for us before the coming Ramadan. We can take a modern tablet and place in all the bones, and the children are learning clavicle. They are learning mandible. They are learning scapula. They are learning pelvis. And they are learning, remembering the words their father told them as he chopped up the goat for Eid. If you don't have a story in a book, write your own story and read it to yourself many times and bring your friends and let them hear you read it. This boy only needed me for the hour to write a story. He illustrated it, and now he goes away. He knows his story. He will read it. He will match it with the letters about how somebody threw up on this bus and the turkey made a mess on his mother's knees. And now he will tell the story to someone else. 3D glasses. One green cellophane, one red cellophane, and pictures that have been show you a snake in 3D. The books become alive for the children, even if they're not reading the words yet. 100 hours is all it takes for an unschooled Nigerian to join the dots, to connect the dots, to say, this is my life as a 21st century African with something to contribute to the world. And everything I have done in my period of Jahiliyyah or intellectual darkness, everything I have done is worth something now because I bring a new voice to the table. And when I begin to write, you will hear stories you never heard. A 5-year-old, striving, he used my lap as his desk and filled a page like this because he knows this is something wonderful to be doing and nothing can stop him. His own religion told him first, Ikra, read in the name of your Lord. And his ibadah means I will take part in this act of worship. I will sit with my teacher, like the best of teachers in history, like Isa, Jesus Christ, like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like the Buddha, like Gandhi, like every decent teacher in society, he lowered himself and sat among his students and spoke with them of things that were important, accepted their questions, and taught them the things they didn't know, not the things that the curriculum from 1930 told them they needed to say. Our children will not take siesta while there are books in the house. Go to sleep. They have something more to read. They have something more to do. Children who hear gun battle at night, these ones in Maiduguri. What stops us from finding just the 100 hours we might give? What stops those of us who are literate from drawing up a little chart and showing a child how to use a ruler to do his maths tables? What stops us allowing a child to come and sit in a taburma in our yard, put down her tray of kola nut and groundnut, and come just to sit in our safe haven and give her her book and her pencil and give her 1 hour and let her work 4. Give her 1 hour and let her come early and be ready to do more. Give her 1 hour until she's had her 100 hours. Why wouldn't you want to witness the miracles that I've seen? You don't even have to dress every child in a tiara and jewelry. Some of them will write on their own. You will see this child, she has taken a book. Instead of copying from the blackboard where I said there are 4 races of human beings, the Mongoloid, the Negroid, the Caucasian, and the Australian. Why would she write that? She's found something wonderful about the human digestive system that she will write because it's true. It is true. Not that. And then, of course, their teacher gets inspired too, and I have to draw my own story. I have to draw the environment in which we work. How we run, you see, the sewing machine, how our life ebbs and flows against each other. These are double orphans from the theater of sorrows. If anyone should have failed, if anyone should be a curse and a menace to society, it should be these children, yeah? This is what our prejudiced minds tell us. Have no thought for those ones in the gutter. They are beyond help. Painting our own parlor with beautiful flowers is part of our healing. Doing it together and taking turns is part of our healing. And so the months pass and we learn that this is our place, our home. These are things that we can do, that we can participate in. And our hearts grow strong. We start to see every day beauty. And again, these children are told the world was created in beauty and truth. Children from the theater of sorrows have a religion that tells them this is beauty and truth that you were born into. And in these first 7 or 12 years of your life, you have seen nothing of it. Don't tell me there's a rebuilding going on in the Northeast, because the Northeast was never built. One university, handful of hospitals, a little sprinkle of schools which have been closed since about 2012. What's to rebuild? What highways were there coursing their way from Maiduguri to Baga? You had goat tracks. It is not severely neglected through the whole period when Lord Lugard made their handwritten language, Ajami, illegal. If you like to make a people illiterate, outlaw their method of writing. So the whole legacy of northern Nigeria, from Borno onto Birnin Kebbi and so on through the empire of Songhai and onto Mauritania, held in the libraries of Timbuktu. But who can read it now? Because Ajami has been illegal for 100 years. Ajami has been illegal for 100 years. And deprived of that connection, of being able to join the dot between who I am, what my people have known. For 1,000 years, my people have been literate. But they wrote in the other direction. They made their own ink. They wrote on wood. Who was lost to Africa. And the West came and collected it recently and took it off to Britain where they will translate it. We cannot let these children believe they're from a legacy of illiteracy. They are not inheritors of ignorance. They are inheritors of truth and beauty. And even in the evening when they use a few plastic animals and lay them out like this, you see they want balance and order in their lives. They want to stand these small, small toys. We have very few toys. Someone offered some toys the other day. I said, what will we do with them? These children will make something out of an old slipper, a cardboard box. There's not a need for toys. The world is too interesting. These children who will take books and read to each other and read and read and read again. First in Hausa, which is the one, because I can't get a book in Kanuri. I've been waiting for some people to write a book in Kanuri and stop using that stupid E. That number 3. Why? You disenfranchise people that way. If you make it difficult to print the book, you can't even type it on word processor. You think that E has no other sound in written language? You think you can't represent it in Arabic? You think you can't represent it in phonics? This is a country where you're all learning phonics at university, phonetics. It's a linguistics tertiary course in most parts of the world. And you're all learning schwa, Use it to write Kanuri, please. Or Fufudi. Tintin is a big popular book. You will see a few photos of Tintin in here. There's one I had to include because Tintin is quite a hero to the children of Baga. He's an unarmed observer of all sorts of mischief. And they have certainly seen all sorts of mischief. But there's a part where Tintin calls out, and he's got a shadow on the ground, his finger like this. Drop your weapons! And they go, ha! And they drop their weapons on the ground. And Tintin picks them up, and now he is armed. With his finger, he has conquered the enemy. And this is the same finger I see them using to say, La ilaha illallah. It's the same finger I see for them reading and following the words and unwinding the text so that their hearts swell with joy. The curiosity that comes with a new bundle of books. The vegetable expert. Do you know if your tomatoes are suffering from some insect coming to it, take your old mosquito net and make a little hut over it and put your piece of net over it, and now the insects cannot come. Now you've got some pretty good tomatoes in your garden. What shall I grow is another book. This is just a joy to behold. 100 hours is what it takes. Here an electrician came, he gave us a few hours of his life. You see a solar panel, you see the board where he's drawing electrical circuits. You can see down by the side that there are some other gizmos and gadgets. I didn't get the lesson, it was in the mother tongue. I know there were amps and volts and wattage involved. I know there was an on and off switch. At the end of the session, he gave them the batteries, the inductor, the paddle, the wires, the switch. And every child, down to this little one in yellow, you see it at the side, sitting on the ground, little Kultum, can wire up the system to use the solar panel to run a gadget. The lights come on, and knowledge is a light. Why do we who have been granted the gift of literacy conceal that light? How much brighter does it burn because we have hidden it under our garments? Because we wear our knowledge tucked under our hijab? Because we wear our knowledge hidden in our babanriga or under our hula? What benefit is this knowledge? It will not even light our footsteps. It will not even guide us on a journey worth making, and we will stumble in the dark even though we are holders of light. And we know how big that stumble is because it has hit northern Nigeria hard. Those of you who know me know I was here in 2012. I was here in 2011 when this city erupted that awful night in January 2012 and put us under curfew and filled our hospitals with 1,500 people to bury in that weekend. And it was reported as 500. Apparently so we didn't get stirred up. But if you went and stood outside the hospital gates that weekend, there was no stirred up sentiment. There was just that incredible sense of loss. Is my loved one in there? Is my loved one alive? Is the blood in my veins any use inside? Shall I bring this water to swill out the A&E? Streets of silence outside the hospitals. This is because we are people who are living in darkness. We are people who expect the government that has failed children so clearly. When was there ever a year with this education system where we could say the North, more than 50% passed, let alone the North, 100% passed? This is in a place where the Al-Majri system, if you graduate from the system, you have excellence or nothing. You don't come away with 50% of Fatiha. You don't come away with half of the Quran. You don't come away with poor tajweed. You come out with all of the Quran or none of it. Excellence or nothing. That's the North. But some second-rate system is being offered. Have some of that. Learn that there are two types of families. Learn that there's polygamous and androgynous and blah, blah, blah. Malaria. I will teach you about malaria. I will teach you about malaria in health and PE. I will teach it to you in basic science. I will teach it to you in social studies from primary 1 every year, 3 times a year for the next 12 years. And still you will fail. Still you will fail. And still your family will die of malaria, and still you will do stupid things like pour kerosene on top of water because your textbook said it was a good idea. You will do stupid things like pulling out the anti-malarial plants that grow around your house because your textbook said it was a good idea. I don't teach that kind of reading. You see here as a teacher in relationship with pupils. Anyone who knows my life, Tijani, you know my life. Here is one of my Al-Majdi from Gidan Al-Majdi, sitting here in the role of teacher. God knows this boy had nothing but Hausa and Quran until he was 12. Yet he will find time to raise orphans as literate human beings. What then is the challenge you feel when you look in this mirror? What then is the challenge that welcomes you to take part in this very joyous activity? Is it so hard to give away some bureaus and exercise books and children make of them what they like? To write in them what they will? And I hope someone's keeping a measure of my time because I can keep on this subject forever. If you're rolling these at 10 seconds, we're doing fine. A child sitting with this kind of concentration, he's free in his body, how he will sit and how he will move, how he will arrange himself. This is a cool of an afternoon. He's flipped back his picture. This one is writing of everything he remembers in his father's house, itemizing the things he knew. Because we have very little in the house where we live. Once you've gone past Taburma and Fatanya, we're about limited there. Some Litafi. There's not a lot more. but he had many. These children are creating their own path to knowledge. They are dedicating hours of their own time in the quest for knowledge. And it takes such a little input from us to transform their lives. Do not be shy of the role that you can play. And do not underestimate the child in the gutter. And please don't ever blame the poor for their state, because they did not create that state for themselves. And given just the tiniest inputs, they will be a blessing to this society. Korankus. 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 Korankus.